Hello everyone, you're watching TVC News at 7. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Well, we're staying with developments at the National Assembly, where the Senate has retained Section 60, subsection 3 of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, leaving operational discretion to the Independent National Electoral Commission. The decision was taken at an emergency plenary session today. Tidesu Adioye has more.
At an emergency plenary session on Tuesday, the Senate upheld Section 60 sub 3 of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, affirming that the electronic transmission of election results remains subject to INEC's determination of the most appropriate method. Plenary proceedings were triggered by a motion from the Senate's Chief Whip, Tahir Munguno, who sought to rescind the Chamber's earlier decision on the clause, citing public backlash. Senator Munguno clarified that his intention was not to overturn the Senate's position, but to amend the wording from transfer to transmit.
Notes that upon careful examination of the bill, fresh issues have emerged in respect of Clause 60 sub 3, which requires further legislative consideration in order to ensure the conduct of smooth, transparent and credible elections in Nigeria. And relying on the provisions of Orders 1B and 52(6) of the Senate Standing Orders 2023 as amended, accordingly resolves to rescind decision on Clause 60 sub 3 of the Electoral Act Repeal and Enactment Bill as previously passed and recommit Clause 60 sub 3 to the Committee of the Whole for further reconsideration and passage. I so move.
The Senate adopted the amendment without vacating its earlier resolution. Under the provision passed, presiding officers are required to electronically transmit polling unit results to the IRF portal after Form EC8A has been manually signed and stamped and countersigned by party agents where available. Where electronic transmission fails due to communication challenges, the signed Form EC8A becomes the primary document for collation and declaration of results. Attempts by Ainaya Baribe to call for a division of votes were later withdrawn amidst overwhelming support from the majority.
Any senator may challenge the opinion of the president or the chairman by claiming a division. Mr. President, I claim a division. In respect of? We need to vote individually. I wish to withdraw my motion.
The Senate President insists that lawmakers seeking further changes may do so through substantive motions.
Provided that if the electronic transmission of the result fails, if it fails as a result of communication failure, in other words, maybe network or otherwise, and it becomes impossible to transmit the result electronically in Form EC8A, signed and stamped by the presiding officer and or countersigned by the candidates or polling agents where available at the polling units. The Form EC8A shall in such a case be the primary source of collation and declaration of results. Those in support of the motion as enunciated by Senator Munguno and seconded by Senator Bamoro say aye. Aye. And those again say nay. Nay. The ayes have it.
In a related development, the Senate reconstituted a 12-member conference committee to harmonize the Electoral Act, naming Simon Bako Lalong as chairman. Following the reconstitution of the conference committee and the adoption of votes and proceedings, the Electoral Act amendment advances to the harmonization stage between the Senate and the House of Representatives. Tidesu Adioye, TVC News, Abuja.